Closing statements in the McStay family murder trial today.
Charles Merritt, a former business associate of Joseph McStay, is charged with killing the family. Both sides rested their case last week without him testifying.
News 8's Shannon Handy has more on what was said in court today. Shannon?
This trial started back in January, so jurors have been presented with a lot of evidence. During closing arguments this morning, the prosecution went first, going over that same evidence again, which they say proves Merritt is guilty.
How does a family of four disappear off the face of the earth?
That's the question prosecutors have been trying to answer over the past 5 months. During closing arguments Tuesday, they reminded jurors about the gruesome murders of Joseph McStay, his wife Summer, and their 2 young sons back in 2010. It's believed the 4 were bludgeoned to death with a sledgehammer inside their Fallbrook home. Their bodies were found 3 years later in shallow graves in the Mojave Desert.
It was blow after blow after blow to a child's skull, a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old. That is an intentional killing.
The man believed to be responsible, Charles, also known as Chase Merritt, a former business partner of McStay's. Prosecutors allege he killed the McStay family over money.
That greed and self-interest motivated a man to kill a family of 4 and take them from this earth.
Throughout the trial, they presented evidence including cell phone data putting Merritt in the area where the bodies were discovered, as well as grainy surveillance footage of a truck resembling Merritt's near the McStay's Fallbrook home the night they went missing.
You can't just look at one thing in isolation. It is one big piece of collective evidence.
The defense, meanwhile, argues there isn't sufficient evidence. For starters, no blood was ever found in the McStay's home. They believe officials have the wrong guy, something they pointed out on day 1 of this trial.
They predetermined he's the guy, and they didn't look at anything else. They stopped when they had other avenues to go.
We have conclusive proof that Chase Merritt had nothing to do with this.
Closing arguments will continue tomorrow. If convicted, Merritt faces the death penalty.